now we're going to be looking at Jupiter. Do you know, can you tell me which one is Jupiter?
On my chart?
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, let me just look at this. Jupiter.
I know a way to a really easy way to remember what the symbol for Jupiter is. Do you want to know what the easy way to remember Jupiter symbol
Yeah,
is?
Jupiter I struggle with.
Jupiter is the planet of blessings and good luck and divine grace. So think of a 4-leaf clover.
Mm-hmm.
Look for the number 4.
Oh. It's right near I guess where Scorpio is, kind of ish.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, there's Jupiter.
I'm trying to test myself with the other symbols too. Yeah.
Yes, excellent.
Okay.
That's good. That's good because you have, that's great that you have that. So now your Jupiter is interesting because if we go down here, this is this lists all the degrees, and this is how the Huber style does it, because I guess we're back. We bumped over to Huber style. We were our last time we were in the Anglo style.
It's pretty similar though.
It is pretty similar. The only real difference is we don't have the lines of the houses going all the way through the chart.
Mm-hmm.
So down here, this lists all the specific degrees of where all the planets are. So if we look down here at Jupiter, we see Jupiter is at 29 degrees Libra, 49 minutes. Now 29 is an unusual degree because 29 is the true cusp. And it's the point where one sign is changing into the other sign.
Mm-hmm.
So you said there's Jupiter down by Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
At 29 degrees Libra, it's like it's literally 11 minutes before it moves into Scorpio. What that means when you have anything in the 29th degree is it's actually in the true cusp and it's actually in both signs.
Mm.
So your Jupiter is not a half Libra Jupiter and a half Scorpio Jupiter. Your Jupiter is 100% Jupiter in Libra and 100% Jupiter in Scorpio. That's the rule with cusps. They take full quality of both signs. Now, they also can sometimes create anxiety. So you've got this gift of grace, and it's operating in 2 signs in 1 house. And but it's got anxiety nonetheless. And you were asking before we started the recording about the fact that you've got a gift of grace around partnership in your lifetime, that you've got that kind of karmic guarantee. That's what Jupiter in Libra means. But Jupiter in Libra also means you've got something to fix, something to work out. And if you work at it, it's guaranteed you'll get there and you'll get that partner.
Mm-hmm. So is that every time it says 29 or every time?
It's every time Jupiter is in Libra.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, so how about we play with the sentences with Jupiter? So we jumped into the more esoteric stuff for a minute.
Oh, okay. I'm going to look up Jupiter. Are you waiting on me? Okay.
Yes.
Where I receive divine grace.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just writing this down.
And you can we'll make 2 sentences because we'll make one with Libra and one with Scorpio.
Okay, I'll look at Libra too. Wait, where I receive divine grace, and then do I go into Libra again?
Yes. So next, because Jupiter is the actor in this play. So this actor is the bestower of bounty and grace. So the bestower of bounty and grace puts on his Libra costume, or her Libra costume.
So where I receive divine grace beautifully, and then I go to what do I do last again?
The house.
yeah, that was, I'm trying to remember what we did last time. And it's in, I just switched screens. What house am I in again?
The second house. So that's, see, this is in Huber, we see the number two here in this line sticking out tells us that's the beginning of the second house. And over here is the beginning of the third house.
Okay. So that's how I know I'm in the second. Okay, because it's over. Okay. So then, Jupiter, where I receive divine grace beautifully. Sorry, I'm overthinking this.
That's okay.
I want to say my lovers and mates. I don't know, because that's just where my head is today. So.
Sure, that's fine.
Does that make sense?
That does. Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, because the second house is a romantic house, and it is your earthly needs, and one of those needs for most of us is a partner, a lover, a mate.
Okay.
Okay. And then along comes Saturn. And remember that Saturn's almost like turn the Jupiter symbol upside down. So Saturn, it's like you turn your four-leaf clover over and say, "Hold." Saturn says, "Now wait a minute. What about your karma? What are you going around here receiving all this free grace?"
Yeah.
You have to work for things.
With Saturn in the second house with Libra?
Yeah, Saturn and Libra in the second house.
Okay. So I'm gonna go with I'm afraid that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go to Libra next.
Yep. And sometimes we have to tweak these to get it to make a sentence that makes sense, but it's just because
you
can't always use adjectives.
Yeah.
So you have to use nouns, and it's a list of adjectives.
Yeah, I'm afraid that because the words are fairly, cooperatively, justly, working as a team, beautifully, graciously, adaptable.
Mm-hmm. See, Saturn in general is a fear something will fail.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid that despite the fact that I express in all these ways.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm struggling with this today. Let me just look at the second house and I'll pull it.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like I want to say, like I'm afraid that my like relationship partner won't come graciously together. Do you know what I mean? Like it's kind of counter towards that. Sorry, that's why I was struggling with it, because like my intuition's a little bit like is pulling it in a different kind of way.
And it would with this, because some of the combinations, because they're all so unique, we've got so many different variables. It's hard to have a perfect. These little sentences, they're just to sort of get you started. They're not always going to give you a perfect fit. But you're right. That's would be what the fear is, for sure.
And when you're doing this with a client, like you're turning these phrases essentially like to kind of explain to them what's happening. Is that why we're
Yeah. I mean, for everybody, Saturn is quite pivotal as something to look at as the fears that we are born with.
Yeah.
Saturn in Libra, basic fears, relationships will fail. So you've got you've got this warring thing going on. Jupiter says it's going to be great, and Saturn goes, it's going to be terrible.
Yeah, it's almost like an opposite feeling.
Yeah. And the good news is that once you face those fears, which in your case, it's really easy to see what the thing that needs to be worked on is with Jupiter and Libra. It's obviously your Saturn in Libra.
Yeah, it's my fear of relationships failing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, anytime we have either Jupiter or the Sun in the same house as Saturn, then we're really constantly being forced to face our fears all the time. And the reason for that is with Jupiter's trying to give you that grace. It's pulling you towards a positive outcome, and Saturn's going, wait, hold on. So you've got all the riches on the other side of the border beckoning to you, and then you've got the border guard who's not letting you through. And you have to pass all of Saturn's tests in order to get to the other side. And if it's the Sun in the same house as Saturn, the Sun is our heart's desire. It's what we want more than anything else in life. So our heart's desire is always going to pull us towards a confrontation with that border guard. But it's a good thing because everybody's got to deal with the border guard eventually. And whether it's obvious or not, we have to deal with that border guard in order to get what we really want in life. It's just more obvious if a person has Jupiter or the Sun in the same house as Saturn. They're always being pushed towards it.
But my Sun's not in the same house.
No, but your Jupiter is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I actually have a friend. No, his Jupiter isn't in the same house. His Sun is, but yeah, the Jupiter's in the next house.
That makes it even more challenging if the
It
Sun
would be pretty
is
intense.
there.
Yes, if you have both Jupiter and the Sun in the same house as Saturn. Yes.
Yeah. So learning the combinations.
Yeah, it would make you nuts for a while, but then as I said, they're both accelerators that way. So
It does pass. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one, which is Uranus.
Okay. And Uranus. Uranus is. Wait, is that in? Can you point to it for me to make sure I know where it is? Yeah. Okay. It's that weird spaceship one. Okay.
Yeah. It looks like the Enterprise, which is perfect for Uranus. Because Uranus is the planet of science fiction. And
I didn't want to say it looked like a spaceship. I was like, what? I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, that's a perfect way, actually. That's a good way to recognize Uranus.
So it's kind of in on like that line there. So is it in third house there?
Well, you see, if you're not sure what house something's in, which in the angle would be easy to see, but if in the Huber, again, we go down here, midheaven.
Why you use the other one now?
2 degrees. Yeah, and we should probably switch back. Midheaven's at 2 degrees of Gemini. So the IC, which is the 4th house cusp, is going to be at 2 degrees 35 Sagittarius. It's in the opposite position. So then we're going to look at Uranus, and Uranus is 0 degrees Sagittarius. So it is over here. It's in the 3rd house. Now, houses also have cusps.
Yeah.
And the 4th house, the houses that the 4 corners, the midheaven down up at the very top, and the noon position of the chart, the midnight position of the chart, the setting sun position and the rising sun position, those are the houses that have the biggest cusp. So any planet that is 8 degrees behind that is in both houses. So just like your Jupiter is in 2 signs, which actually we didn't do the other sentence for Jupiter and Scorpio. I'll come back to that. Just like your Jupiter's in both signs, your Uranus is in both houses. Now let's just go back and put this in angle.
Yeah, I think that might be why I'm like trying to figure out. I get that you know.
Yeah. Okay. Now see,
I see why it's weird. Yeah. Okay.
And it gives the degrees right there, and you don't have to scroll down to get them. Here's another listing of them, but you don't need to go to it. But see again how Uranus is so close. That's the little blue line for Uranus. This is the little blue line for the moon, and this is the little blue line for Mercury. Just because they're bigger, the glyphs are bigger. They stick out further.
Okay, so it's Uranus in the third house.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the little sign that I'm looking for here?
Oh, you know what? I think this didn't give us the right house structure.
Mm-hmm.
So, second house system. If you're going to use Anglo, you need to down here options for zodiac and houses, house system, Koch.
Okay, cool.
Because that's going to change what houses things are in.
Okay. Okay. So, am I looking at what sign is it in though?
What sign is it in? It's the listing of the degree, the sign.
Sagittarius.
Yes, excellent.
Okay. Okay, so let me look at my words. So I'm going to start with the house.
You start with the planet, Uranus.
Oh, planet, yeah. My uniqueness.
Mm-hmm.
In my communication.
Mm-hmm. You lost your Sagittarius piece. My uniqueness.
Oh, I'm on a roll today, apparently.
What uniqueness have you got?
What kind of uniqueness? I just liked you're right. Sagittarius. Should be more comfortable with these words. My uniqueness is in my, I want to use the word exploring, but I just need to explore different ways of communication and
yeah.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Go back and do Jupiter and Scorpio in the second house.
Jupiter.
That's a 29 degree that we forgot to do.
Okay. And then I'm going to go out and do Jupiter. Where I receive divine grace.
Or you could say, or my divine grace expresses. It's another phrase you could use for it.
Divine grace expresses. And it's in Scorpio. I'm going to go up to Scorpio. Where my divine grace expresses I want to say with desire. And then go down to second house. This is hard because it's money, possessions, values, talents, or my lovers or mates. I mean, I would say my talents, but
Sure.
um, I probably would use a different word.
What word would you use?
I don't know. Like, I feel like, and maybe that's just my level of confidence to where I'm at right now. I wouldn't say it's talents yet. Do you know what I mean? But it's
Right.
like, I guess it is. Like, I don't know, my abilities or
Hmm. Hmm.
my strengths, like
Yeah.
my, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. See, what's interesting is Jupiter also is always in the house where we've lacked in other lifetimes. And in this lifetime, we're given gifts and we're given spiritual grace. So we don't have to lack in that area anymore. So if you
Hmm.
felt in a lot of lifetimes you didn't have talents, you didn't have abilities, Jupiter's there to keep encouraging you and giving you things that are really going to feed that. But it's easy to feel insecure.
Yeah, there's a feeling around that.
Yeah.
Talking about it. And that's part of, I'm so interested in this too, right?
Yes. Yes.
But I mean, I shouldn't use the word but. I hate the word but. I am
Mhm.
learning something that, you know, is
Yeah.
is going to take some time.
This is
So,
true. Yeah,
mhm.
yeah. And as much as we were playing around with Beethoven a little earlier today.
Yeah,
We're back to scales at the moment.
yeah, it's true. I wanted to dive in there, but I wasn't quite ready.
Yeah, but I think you'll be ready faster than most people would be because
Yeah,
you
because I
want
just
yourself
can't
back.
help myself. Yeah. We get on the phone. We have to figure this out. Okay. Jupiter, yeah. Okay, so that makes sense then, the way we talked about that.
Mhm.
Next.
Next, well, after Uranus was Neptune.
Oh, Neptune. So, Neptune, is it in the second house there? No.
No.
Let's see. What does Neptune look like again? I really struggle with the planets, I find.
Hmm. Yeah, Neptune has his trident.
Hmm. Um, Neptune. Oh, okay. I know what it looks like. Um, it's in the fourth house.
Yes, that's right.
Oh.
Yes, there's Neptune.
And it's still in Sagittarius.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to go to the planet first. Actually, I'm going to write this down. It goes planet, then it goes um, house, and then it goes sign, right?
No, it's planet, sign, and house because it's the planet is the actor, and then he
Okay.
puts on his costume of the sign, and he
Okay.
walks on stage into the house.
Okay. I keep
Can
muddling.
you can go house, if you first notice it, yes, okay, if I look at, here we go with Jupiter in second again. Okay, Jupiter is giving grace to her second house. How is Jupiter doing it? In a Libra and Scorpio way. Yeah, we can look at it that way, but for our purposes right now, really many times in your life, your planet's going to operate just in the sign and not worry about the house. So
Hmm.
it's really important to get a sense of the planet in the sign because it's very identified with the sign, with the costume that it's wearing. Just like our spirits are identified with the costume of the physical body and the personality we're wearing in this lifetime. That's
Hmm.
what it's like for a planet to be in a sign.
Hmm. Um, so so Neptune's interesting because like I feel like I want to say the part of my life where I may have illusions.
Mm-hmm.
Part of my life. So I'm writing this as I go. Illusions. And I was just looking at it some more. So Sagittarius. So I want to say, idealistically, it's either in my home or my sense of security. Like, I think that I almost place different ideas as far as like what security really means to me when it doesn't matter at all. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
Like, even like buying a house, like, it pops in my head, is like,
Yes,
that's very culturally like something that's like,
yes.
a lot of people talk about, but it's not necessarily something that I sometimes I feel guilty about, but it's not necessarily something I'm drawn to. So
Right. Yes.
I'm stagger on that little.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Neptune can also be the house where a person is really sort of very non-physical or non-attached. I
Mhm.
remember I have Neptune in the second house, and when I was younger, I didn't have any concept of money. I would give it away.
Yeah.
I would ask for it from people. It would flow through me. It's like money doesn't mean anything. It's hard to explain. And even the second house being the physical world, and even my older son and I both have Neptune in the second house, and both of us as children, it took us the longest time to get the concept of property, a physical. Somebody, there's a property line here, and on this side of the lawn, you don't walk over there because that belongs to somebody else.
Mhm.
What? And I never had a problem if somebody walks on our property, if we walk on someone else's property. It's all just, property is all in common. This is an instinctive thing. This
Yeah.
sense that all of these things don't mean anything. They're it dissolves this really concrete approach to things.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, I think
Yeah.
the attachment to buying a house, or
Mm-hmm.
you know the timing of having a child kind of thing, like, it doesn't resonate the same with me as like
Yes.
a clock ticking, you know what I mean? Like, it
Yes.
doesn't, like, if it happens for me, that's something that I would embrace. But like,
Yes.
especially the house thing, it seems to be really big in our culture to, you have to buy a house, like, you're kind of,
Yeah.
you're like, you made it, right? So that's where that feels. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's interesting. And it can also be an area where people are very selfless. So if somebody has Neptune in their seventh house, which is marriage, they can be extremely selfless partners. They're very giving and very compassionate and have no boundaries with their partner. And
Mm,
that's beautiful, but it can be dangerous also.
yeah.
So we have to balance our Neptune. So it was interesting raising a child who has Neptune the same place as me, because I'm looking out, trying to look out for this child. You do need to respect this silly idea people have about
Yeah.
boundaries.
Yeah.
But it's kind of necessary because it's how things are run here. But I know, I agree with you. It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. No, no, that it does make sense though when I say it to you. So that's good.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
That's good. Okay.
But Neptune in the first house, and I'm thinking when we look at some other charts, we'll probably do a couple of famous people. And I think one of the ones I picked, I think, has Neptune in the first house. And when Neptune is in the first house, you can have a very strong image that everybody's collective illusion gets projected onto easily. So a lot of famous people in the entertainment industry can have Neptune in the first house. A lot more common. It's 1 in 12 people have Neptune in the first house, but it's probably more like 1 in 4 or 1 in 3 in the entertainment industry have Neptune in the first house. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
But that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be famous, or is it like,
No, it doesn't necessarily mean that, but it can increase the likelihood of it.
mm,
And when a person is famous, people get the image aspect of the fame becomes really all encompassing, for good
mhm,
or for ill.
mhm,
Because Marilyn Monroe, she's an obvious astrological example of that. She had Neptune rising, and there was a profound image that she expressed, but it wasn't her full self. It wasn't her who she really was, and that
mhm.
caused her a tremendous amount of pain.
Hmm. That's interesting.
But others, may thrive on it, and then if they fall into the same trap that society's falling into, believing in the image, that's not a good thing either. So
Mhm.
to know that you have this image, and it's a tremendous power that can be used creatively and can be used for good stuff, but don't get attached to it. That's the best way to handle that. But it's powerful, but it's kind of challenging to have Neptune in the first house.
Yeah. I don't
And
Yeah. I don't know, I was just gonna say, I don't see Pluto.
Ah, boink. PL, Pluto.
Oh, it's not the symbol that I'm, okay.
Yeah, this is the most common symbol that gets used in astrological charts.
Kind of like a P.
Yeah, like it's a P and an L put together, which can be stand for Pluto, but also for Percival Lowell, who was the discoverer of Pluto.
Okay. And then, man, this is the one planet I never really. This is like Virgo. No, no, that's the Virgin. This is. Oh my God. This is the one I always. Um, it's like the Libra.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So I'm looking up second house, Pluto, Libra.
Yes. Or Pluto in Libra in the second.
Yeah. Still pulling that together. Pulling that together.
That's okay.
It's almost like I'm dyslexic for like.
If you use this chart as a way to learn how to do it, planet, sign, house. It goes into the center of the chart. Start on the outside, planet, sign, house.
Okay.
So we do Pluto in Libra in the second.
I'm going to go my hidden power.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to go to Libra. I'm going to say beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the house is actually going to say, but learning. Well, it's going to have to be my talents that I said I didn't have, but that I do have.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah. Because I know they're there. I think what I'm doing from a soul perspective, my perspective, I'm unveiling kind of what's there that I have at my core, right? It's almost like relearning something. It feels like.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Yeah. So that's why there's insecurity there, but I know it's there. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and Pluto can be the part of the chart where there's all kinds of hidden power that stays latent for a long time, and then all of a sudden it just bursts forth with tremendous force.
What makes it burst forward? Just like, is it timing of in your chart, or is it just any time? Like
it often can be timing in the chart that will trigger it. Sometimes you just get to a certain age where you feel strong enough, and then boom, out it comes. There are certain planets that like to lie in wait and then surprise you. Uranus and Pluto being those planets. So sometimes you can't predict them when they're going to show up, but many times there's an astrological trigger point. But the other thing that's very interesting is that Pluto's sitting right in between your Jupiter and your Saturn. So it's almost acting like a mediator between the optimism and the pessimism.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hey, I've got the power here. I'm going to reconcile this.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.